Yes, welcome back inside of the Plastic Planet. I am your host, Ryan, hanging out with you guys tonight. Well, guys, it is May the 4th, 2026, and as promised, as I've been promising for a couple weeks now, I'm going to give you guys today my 2026 May the 4th Star Wars room tour. Now, I did things a little tiny bit differently this year than I've done in previous years. In previous years, when I've come out here and done a room tour, I just kind of start on one side of the room and just go around in the complete circle, do it in sort of a linear path. This year, I did it a little bit different. I kind of followed the analytics of my channel a little bit, and I kind of went with what was popular first. And so I'm parting it out into sections this year, as opposed to just going around the room and just throwing at you guys whatever happens to come next along the walls. So anyway, I'm parting it out this year. We're going to start out this year by first doing a complete room tour of all my 1/6 scale Sideshow and Hot Toy figures. Then we're going to move on to the second most popular item that I collect in my Star Wars videos, and that is my 3.75-inch or my TVC collection, followed by my retro or old school Kenner stuff. Then we're going to be talking a little Black Series, and then after that, I'm just going to give you guys a nice round robin of everything else that I missed. And so that'll be more of a linear look around the room. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, it's going to be a little non-traditional this year. I hope it's not a complete clusterfuck, but it should be fun. And hopefully it might make it, doing it this way might make it a little easier to watch. So you can kind of watch what you want to see, and then you can kind of skip what you don't. And if you want to watch it all, man, more power to you, and I'd appreciate that. So anyway, guys, let's get on it, guys. Let's get on it right now. Alright, guys, but before we get to any of that, first I just want to give you a bit of a lay of the land. I'm going to swing around the room, show you the entire room, and then we'll go get dirty in the details and as far as breaking down the individual lines and going from there. So anyway, let's do it. I'm going to give you guys a quick spin around the room, and then we're going to get on it. Alrighty, guys, so first up tonight, like I said, let's start out with my 1/6 scale Hot Toys and Sideshow collection. Let's do it right now. Alrighty, guys, so hold on to your butts. We're going to be starting over on this side of the room with these center detolfs. These are really sort of a little bit of a room divider I have in here, bumped up behind my couch here. So we're going to start out with these detolfs right here, and that's kind of out of pragmatic sake for me, because I'm going to have to move the couch out to be able to open up the doors and get the camera inside so we don't have any of that pesky glare. But yeah, we're going to start out over here taking a look at some of these awesome goodies. Alright, guys, I got the first detolf open, and let's just go down one by one, and we're going to hit these pretty fast. First shelf, I've got the Boba Fett. That came with the Boba Fett 2-pack with the from Mandalorian Season 2. You got Boba Fett getting his armor all cleaned up. I actually really like that version a lot, with the armor all weathered and battle damaged and whatnot. Looks like the armor straight out of really The Empire Strikes Back slapped onto a slightly more rotund Boba Fett, perhaps. And then over here we have the Episode 2 Jango Fett, which I just recently changed up his pose and also put his helmet on. I had him unhelmeted for a really, really long time in there, but I actually like this a lot. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, looking pretty rad. And then coming down to the next shelf, guys, we're just going to keep going here. I got the Death Trooper from, of course, Season 2 of The Mandalorian once again. Love that figure a lot. Looking really, really cool in there. I need to get a better backdrop for him. I'm just using what came in the packaging, just sort of as a stand-in. And it's not a bad stand-in, you know. It's obviously an army builder type figure, and it's way too expensive for me to actually army build. But yeah, looking pretty fantastic. Yeah, I like that one a lot. And then this is my favorite shelf here in this particular set of details. I've got a brand new LED lightsaber for my Season 2 Mandalorian Luke Skywalker. Of course, came with that Grogu and the battle damaged, or really dead battle damaged Death Trooper there. But absolutely awesome. Got the backdrop in there as well. But finally got him in a pose I like. And like I said, I just recently added in that LED lightsaber that just tabs right into the existing factory lightsaber hilt that came with it from Hot Toys. So looking really, really nice. And because of the cloak and because of the backdrop, I was able to hide the wires in there really, really good. Hiding wires is not usually my forte, but in this case, I did a pretty good job. And yeah, I really like this figure a lot. This might be one of my favorite figs in my collection, although it's got some fierce competition, I would say. And then finally, coming down to the last shelf here, yeah, I've got the ketchup and mustard troopers there. I've got the incinerator trooper and then the heavy artillery stormtrooper. And of course, we got Moff Gideon with the dark saber there, doing some sinister, nasty, threatening shit to poor baby Grogu. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I made that backdrop in there as well. So that's pretty rad. So yeah, then, you know, really, really cool looking shelf. We'll just kind of slowly go back up here. I'm literally standing on my couch. Alrighty guys, in the top shelf up here, I've got the animation stylized Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course Yoda from the Clone Wars animated TV series with a really cool Clone Wars logo there that I picked up off Etsy. That's 3D printed, but very, very, very damn cool. And yeah, these figures are a little smaller than your standard 1/6 scale action figures, so they kind of need to be displayed on their own, you know, just that and the difference in the stylization of the figures. Obviously, these are animated stylized versus live action. So they definitely kind of belong in their own space, and they've got their own space up here. And I think they look absolutely fantastic. Then coming down to the next shelf, this is a shelf that I did some custom work on. I completely built that background in there. And I think it looks really, really awesome. Just sort of a rando kind of Star Wars environment that I was shooting for. And we've got IG-12 up there with baby Grogu at the helm, looking really, really cool with this little fruit there. Then we've got a Sideshow Collectibles R5-D4, still hanging in there, looking great after all these years. We've got the Inzellian droid repair little guy chilling out there with Chopper. And Chopper's got a little holographic action going on there. And then, of course, we've got the Sideshow Collectibles still holding up, still looking absolutely awesome, is the Sideshow Collectibles Hammerhead action figure. So looking pretty cool with that. And then I love that backdrop. Again, I did that myself. Like I did all my backdrops with insulation foam, paint, and a number of other mediums. But yeah, looking very, very cool. Then coming down here, and I've talked about this piece so many times, I'm not going to spend any time on it this time, but this is my Luke Skywalker. That's a deluxe Sideshow Collectibles Luke Skywalker with a baby Grogu there in a backpack from Hasbro, in a diorama piece that I made myself, basically. Basically, this is the training of Grogu, very much inspired from the Book of Boba Fett episode. But yeah, looking really, really rad. I like that one a lot, and some of my favorite shells, actually. Yeah, I got a Loth Cat back in there. Yeah, looking absolutely, absolutely awesome. And then on the final shelf here, moving along real fast, we have got the Hot Toys Darth Maul from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, with his double-bladed lightsaber, and he actually has his legs there. So yeah, looking pretty cool there, man. This is like Darth Maul with legs. You know, you ever hear the old thing about, you know, the Def Leppard drummer, whether he's got 2 arms or 1? Well, this is Darth Maul with 2 legs instead of none. Alright guys, coming up next as we continue our 1/6 scale Sideshow and Hot Toys segment of the tour, we're heading over to what I call the Big Bank. That's where I have 5 detolfs all right in a row here. Actually, I just gave that nickname to it just now. But anyway, we're going to be going shelf by shelf here, and we're going to try to zip through this pretty quick. But yeah, some exciting stuff to look at. All right, guys, on the first shelf here, we got some oldies but goodies. I've had these guys displayed like this literally since I started my channel almost 8 years ago now. But I've got the original Hot Toys Darth Vader, and he is flanked by 2 Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale Stormtroopers. And I think those Stormtroopers, while they're not Hot Toys, they still really hold up. They look nice, especially behind a figure kind of posed up in this sort of configuration. So nice shelf. I really like this one. And yeah, for some oldies, it still really holds up and looks fantastic.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi.
All right, guys, coming up next, we've got my Hot Toys Luke Skywalker, my Empire Strikes Back Bespin Hot Toys Luke Skywalker, dueling off there with a Sideshow Collectibles Deluxe Darth Vader action figure. Like the Hot Toys Vader above it, this one still holds up very, very nicely considering its age. He is actually getting up there quite a bit. But the Luke Skywalker, on the other hand, is fantastic and is a more recent release. Both these figures are displayed holding CCFL custom lightsaber blades. Looking absolutely fantastic, and I've got that nice Bespin backdrop in there as well. Probably my very favorite duel from all of Star Wars, and you're going to see it repeated often in this tool. I get to kind of cheat on this shelf here because this is actually a double shelf to accommodate my 1/4 scale. This is 1/4 scale, but it is a Hot Toy. My 1/4 scale Hot Toy Darth Vader. This came out couple years back now. I unboxed it on the channel back more than a couple years ago now, I guess, but still holds up, still looks great. Again, this is a very, very Vader-centric detolf, I think, but yeah, this is a fantastic piece, and he does come with this large display base. And then down here we've got these Hasbro pieces that came out a number of years back as well. They're like the hyper real Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. It's a dead line. These were the only figures released in that particular line, but they're still fun. They've got some rubber clothing and some rubber accessories that may not hold up real well, but again, they look pretty good right now, and they look really, really nice. So yeah, I did say we're going to be revisiting the Bespin duel a lot in this tour, and here's one more example for you guys. So you guys, back up to the top, and this is a real work in progress shelf. Do excuse all the wiring and whatnot up here. It's a bit of a mess. I've tried to tidy it up, but I'm pretty, some of those wires are pretty taut in there, so I'm kind of going to have to probably build a backdrop for it, which will be fun, and I'll certainly keep you guys up to date on that as soon as I get it done. But for right now, I just got 2 figs in there. I got the Sideshow Collectibles. That's the Sideshow Collectibles Lando Calrissian in Skiff Guard disguise, looking very, very cool. I kind of chose to display him without the helmet because I just think Billy D. Williams is a badass, and so I just kind of wanted to have him without the helmet, looking kind of cool. I thought that might be kind of an unconventional way to display this figure without the helmet. So I actually really like that a lot. And then over here we've got Boba Fett, and I think this was from the Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary celebration, so to speak, from Hot Toys. This is a Hot Toys figure, and of course we've got a Hot Toys Boba Fett in, of course, vintage stylized color, in a vintage stylized color scheme is what it is. Very much reminiscent of the old Kenner 3.75 inch Boba Fett, which you'll see a lot of those on this tour as well as we get into more of that section of the collection. But yeah, fun shelf, just needs some work on the background there. But other than that, the figs are great though. All right, guys, coming down to the next shelf, we got two obviously awesome, legendary, iconic characters arguing like they always do, or at least how I envision they always would. We've got Han Solo from Hot Toys, and we've got Chewbacca from Hot Toys as well. Now, the Han Solo here is from A New Hope. This is an older figure, probably due for a redo at some future point, but this one still holds up and looks great. And then, of course, over here, we've got... He's complicated, right? This is the Chewbacca from The Force Awakens. This was the second version of Chewbacca that Hot Toys did. Hot Toys did do a 2-pack with this Han Solo at one point that I did not pick up. I honestly, at the time, thought this Chewbacca was better. And that's a real hot take because I know a lot of people do not think real kindly of this figure. I don't know. He doesn't look that great. I'll admit that. He looks a little bit like a Shih Tzu. I'll own that. But in his defense, I don't think Hot Toys has really done a great Chewbacca yet. Even the Empire Strikes Back one, the ones I've seen. I know I've not seen it in hand, so I guess I can't really say for sure. But I just don't know if they've done Chewbacca justice just yet. Not that this one is doing it. Not that this one is doing it by a long shot. But anywho. Anyway, in the backdrop there, the Docking Bay 94 backdrop there is something I built myself. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then coming down to the next shelf, guys, we got a Return of the Jedi theme. We got the Forest Moon of Endor, the Battle of Endor, fully on display down here with all Hot Toys figures in this one. We got my Hot Toys Endor Princess Leia, my Hot Toys Endor Luke Skywalker, and then, of course, my Hot Toys Indoor Han Solo, General Solo there, and then of course in the front here we've got Wicket W. Warwick. So that's really cool. The Luke Skywalker has an LED lightsaber that did not come with the figure. That is not factory. You're going to see a lot of those in this on my tour here, as you already have. But love this shelf a lot. I've done a lot of work on this shelf just recently, and I think it's fantastic. And the backdrop I did buy off eBay, but looking very, very cool. In the bottom shelf here, going back to the Empire Strikes Back and the Battle of Hoth there, we've got a Sideshow Collectibles. This is an older piece. A Sideshow Collectibles Han Solo. The Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Princess Leia. She's getting a little long in the tooth too, but she still holds up and looks okay. And then of course in the back there we've got the Sideshow Collectibles C-3PO, which is sort of an outdated figure, and honestly it never was a really great figure to begin with. But it was really our 1/6 scale C-3PO stand-in for so long, and I actually have two of them. You'll see another one here later in the collection. But yeah, I like this one a lot. I love this this theme. Again, the backdrop I bought off eBay. The one regret I do have is that the Sideshow Collectibles Han Solo, the one I have here, is the brown coat version, and I think the blue coat version comes with a head that does not have the hood on it, and I kind of wish I had that one instead of this one. But still cool, still rad, and that's a cool shelf as well. Alrighty, and just like the shelf next door to it, my top shelf is leaves a little more to be desired in as far as the presentation. But I do have a number of clones in here. These are every single figure in here are older Sideshow collectible figures, still holding up, still looking pretty decent. But yeah, it's a sort of obviously a Clone Wars clone theme in here. I've got both fives and Echo back there in the back, and then I've got Commander Gree in the front here. That, of course, like I said, that is a Sideshow Collectibles Commander Gree. I think Hot Toys might be coming out with him soon. And then, of course, I got a Utah Trooper in there as well. So it's, like I said, this is my one Clone Trooper shelf in 1/6 scale. I don't own a lot of Clone Troopers. I'm not a big collector of clones. Although they're cool, don't get me wrong, I love clones. But it's just not something that I have prioritized in my collecting. But so this is probably all you're going to see of clones on this tour, in as far as 1/6 scale anyway. But yeah, and they're all Sideshow. I don't actually have a Hot Toys clone as of yet. Never say never. And then right here is the 1/6 scale Sideshow Collectibles Episode 2/Episode 3 Yoda. I did order the new Hot Toys one that's coming out in next year. So I pre-ordered it anyway. So I'll get that next year to kind of replace him. Not that this guy's going anywhere. I don't ever get rid of shit. All right, guys. Next shelf down, we have got the Hot Toys C-3PO from Return of the Jedi, pairing up there with the R2-D2. That is a Sideshow Collectibles R2-D2. He's getting a little long in the tooth, but again, still holds up really, really nice. He lights up and everything, but I don't have batteries in him currently. But he still holds up really, really nice with his drink dispenser there from Jabba's sail barge. Now, the C-3PO I actually do have lit up for you guys. 99.999% of the time, he is not lit up, but for the sake of the tour, I turned on his eyes, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I wish there was a way to keep those on all the time or most of the time. Hey guys, next shelf down, more of my diorama work. I don't know if my diorama work is like cream of the crop, but I think it looks pretty good. Again, the same thing. I made this out of insulation foam, paint, some greebles that I bought off Instagram that were 3D printed, and some other things, just adding in some accessories from other figures and whatnot. I think it looks really cool. Just so again, this is headcanon fun up here. I've got R2-D2 in there. That is I believe that is a Sideshow Collectibles R2-D2 getting some maintenance done by a pit droid. The pit droid came in a 3-pack with the R5-D4 and the BD droid down here. Looking pretty cool. And of course I threw Grogu in there too, and we've got a table that was from I think that was from an old Sideshow Obi-Wan Kenobi figure. Again, I just thought it looked right in there. Spare parts laying around. We got a protocol droid, a 3PO protocol droid head there in a bucket, and that's a BB-8 from Sphero. That's not Hot Toys or Sideshow. That was put out by Sphero. He used to like roll around and all that shit like a remote control thing. He had an app on your phone, but the company doesn't. I don't think the company exists in its current form, and the app isn't usable anymore. So he just looks like a great 1/6 scale figure, though. Again, you're not going to see a lot of sequel stuff on this tour, but I do love some of the character designs from the sequels, and so they do make appearances here and there. But anyway, like I said, the R5-D4 in there is from Hot Toys. The BD droid and the pit droid, they were a 3-pack, as I said, and yeah, that's fun. That's a fun shelf. I enjoy this one a lot. And then lastly on this DTOLF, we've got sort of a Dagobah theme going on down here. We've got from Hot Toys, we've got Yoda there from The Empire Strikes Back from Hot Toys. He's got him, he came out a number of years ago, but he's still absolutely fantastic. Got him using the Force there, levitating stones. I love that. And then of course we have the X-Wing pilot, snowspeeder pilot from The Empire Strikes Back from Hot Toys, Luke Skywalker. He came out, oh man, 3-4 years ago now. Again, absolutely fantastic figure, and he comes with an array of accessories from his stay on Dagobah that he unloaded from the X-Wing, including his lantern and the droid recharger there. And all right, guys, back up to the top, and this is a shelf that has not changed really in years. I just have had these two paired up together for a very long time. There's the version 1 K2SO that came out during the Rogue One film release from Hot Toys. Awesome figure. He does light up. I don't have his head lit up at the moment, but he does light up. And then, of course, there's the Jen Erso there in the Imperial disguise outfit that they wore as they were infiltrating Scarif. I love these two a lot. Honestly, they need a little bit of a background than what they have. This shelf could use some TLC. I'll probably always have these two paired together, but they could really use some TLC. You know, Rogue One deserves that, and these figures deserve that. But anyway, absolutely fantastic figures. I think I reviewed both of them very early on in this channel. So you were talking 6-7 years ago now. So they've been out for a long time, but still absolutely awesome, holding up great, and yeah, I love them a lot. All right, guys, another shelf that's remained static for a number of years here in my collection, and of course is my Stormtrooper disguise, Luke and Han there. These are Hot Toys figures, by the way, and of course the Princess Leia. So these figures are getting up there in the tooth as well. I think the Han came out around the same time as I got that Jen Erso above it. So he's been out a while, the Luke's been out a while, and Leia's been out for quite a while. But again, they still look great. They still hold up. I really love the Luke Skywalker. I think he's got a great head sculpt. I love that you can see the perspiration on his face, you know, as he's gotten all stuffy and hot from wearing that helmet. Very, very cool. Very, very realistic. And the Han, of course, has that really iconic smirk on his face. I absolutely love it. And the Princess Leia is just great as well. Alrighty, guys, next shelf down. This is another shelf that's remained very, very static, so there's really nothing new here. Just basically I show it off every time I do a room tour every year or so. But anyway, I got the Mythos Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's sort of got the Alec Guinness likeness there, sort of a younger Alec Guinness likeness. Honestly, I'd rather it be Ewan McGregor, but that's just me. And then, of course, we have a Sideshow Collectibles Tusken Raider still holding up after all these years. The Sideshow Collectibles Jawas, which were always junk. Not a fan of those figures. Probably my least favorite 1/6 scale figures I have in my entire collection. And then that Power Droid actually is a Hot Toys figure. And it came with it came as a 2-pack with a Jawa. Now, I didn't buy the Jawa. I bought the Power Droid there, or the Gonk Droid, loose off eBay by itself, and so I added it in here. So I felt like I really had to have a Gonk Droid in 1/6. Guys, on the bottom shelf is a pretty loaded shelf, but a good looking shelf with a lot of Empire Strikes Back love in there, particularly Bespin Empire Strikes Back. Right in the forefront there, we've got the DX1 non-battle damaged Luke Skywalker that came in that 2-pack. This was the first Star Wars figure that Hot Toys ever did, as you guys probably know, but looking great. Behind him there is a custom Han Solo I did with some Sideshow parts and some parts I got offline, particularly eBay. He's okay. I'm not a great customizer by any means, but he's a nice stand-in until I get my Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Han whenever he happens to ship. Got him pre-ordered. Then of course I have the Empire Strikes Back Bespin Princess Leia, a beautiful figure, and the Lando, which was really, really rad as well, from Hot Toys. Really, really nice looking show. All right, guys, back up to the top of the last detail here along the big bank. We have a Queen Amidala from episode 1. This is a third-party offering that I picked up a while back, maybe about a year or so ago. Full review on it here on the channel. If you're interested, you just dig back into my video catalog there and you should be able to find it pretty easily. And then behind her is a episode 1 signature portrait edition 1999 Queen Amidala that came out back when episode 1 was released. Still very, very cool. Picked her up at a flea market or something for like 25 bucks. Still really rad. Next shelf down is sort of it's okay. So I have my Obi-Wan Kenobi there. Episode 3 Obi-Wan Kenobi, not in the best pose. I've had him like this forever. I really should probably get him in a new pose. But anyway, he is posed up there with infant Luke Skywalker there with the twin sons behind him, looking very, very cool. And then next to him, mixed bag of emotions with this figure. I have the Force Awakens Luke Skywalker that I sort of customed out and put on some Return of the Jedi garb on him to kind of give him a little bit of a different look that he had in the Force Awakens, to kind of give him that dignified Jedi Master look as he's levitating there and using the Force. I don't know, man. It really doesn't help. I still don't like that figure because I just don't like what he represents from the movie, but I digress. You'll see another, you actually will see another sequels era Luke Skywalker on this tour that I actually like a lot more than this one. But again, that shelf's okay. It is what it is. The background's nice, so I got the background off eBay, like I got a lot of these ones. And then coming down to the next shelf here, guys, we got some Hot Toys and Sideshow love. That Bosk is an older Sideshow Collectibles figure. Came out a number of years ago. Had him, 10, 15 years now. Probably, well, way more than 10 years. At least 15 years now. And then, of course, the Empire Strikes Back Han Solo in Carbonite there. That's from Sideshow Collectibles. And then a Hot Toys Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett in there as well. So you got Boba Fett showing off his quarry there to Bosk. And it looks pretty awesome indeed. All right, and we reached the last shelf of the big bank. All 5 details have been covered now. And these are all Sideshow, older Sideshow pieces. Still, the theme holds with these guys as well. Still holding up, looking absolutely awesome. We got the 2-pack of the security battle droids from Sideshow Collectibles that came out a number of years ago, as well as the first really version 1.0 of General Grievous that Sideshow did a number of years ago. I think it still holds up. Now, I will say I was in one of my very favorite collectible stores here locally, here in Denver, Colorado, and I saw the new Hot Toys General Grievous that I bulked on because I had this guy and I was pretty happy with him. But wow, that thing looked amazing. So I don't know, maybe I should have picked him up, but whatever, man. He's $500 figure. I just can't throw that kind of money around all the time. Yeah, you know, we got to make choices in life. So I'm happy with this one, and I probably will be for forever, probably. Anyway, and he's hanging out here with a Sideshow Collectibles Kit Fisto. That's not the Hot Toys version of Kit Fisto. That is the Sideshow Collectibles one. And again, still holds up for what he is. I don't need the latest and greatest in as far as a action figure for Kit Fisto. I think this one represents the character just fine for my needs. Again, can't buy it all, man, as you guys all are aware and struggle with that just as much as I do. So yeah, looking great. We'll head to the third and final set of details. Let's head over here and check out what I got going on over here. Alrighty, guys, first shelf here up at the way top. Again, man, we're keep returning to that Bespin duel with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader from The Empire Strikes Back. Greatest motion picture of all time. But yeah, this is the DX1 battle damaged version of Luke Skywalker there. He's got a CCFL custom lightsaber. And then over here is the Empire Strikes Back Hot Toys Darth Vader that came out, I believe, for the 40th anniversary of the film back in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so next shelf down, man. I just did some work on this one just recently, so this is actually new. You guys have never seen it looking like this before, but yeah, check it out, man. I got the Snowspeeder pilot Luke Skywalker from The Empire Strikes Back. This is the Sideshow Collectibles version of this one. You guys saw the Hot Toys version earlier in the tour in that sort of a Dagobah themed shelf. But yeah, this is the Sideshow version, and I've got a really cool backdrop there I picked up off eBay. Well, anyway, I got his harpoon gun there. I'm not sure which figure that harpoon gun came off of. I don't even think it was this specific one. But anyway, I got that harpoon gun there, and then I've got him locked and loaded with an LED lightsaber blade, custom LED lightsaber blade. So he's looking amazing. I actually am really, really happy with how this turned out. Obviously there's some creative licensing there, but yeah, you know, he's out there on the plains of Hoth and he's ready to go AT-AT hunting. That's badass. That's effing badass. Hey guys, and switching gears over just a little bit to a little bit of a New Hope themed shelf, which we haven't had a New Hope themed shelf in a little bit here on this tour. Yeah, I got the X-Wing pilot Luke Skywalker. That's from Sideshow Collectibles. He's an older piece now, but he still looks absolutely fantastic in my opinion. And I have him partnered there with the Force Awakens Hot Toys R2-D2 with the die-cast metal dome and everything. Really great looking figure. And they are featured there inside of a diorama that I built myself. And it's kind of, that particular diorama has kind of fluttered around my collection, hosting different figures over the years. But I think it looks really, really cocool, right? Like this is sort of a Yavin 4 before the battle kind of thing. Yeah, I love that one a lot. This is actually one of my favorite shells right now. I just, the way it glows, the way it looks in the, from when I'm sitting on my couch, it's just, I'm really enjoying it a lot. So absolutely fantastic. And coming down to the bottom shelf of this detail, actually not a lot of personality down on this one. Just two really cool figures. That's the Sideshow Collectibles AT-AT Walker premium figure that came out a number of years ago. Partnered up there with the Hot Toys Sand Trooper Sergeant figure that came out about a year or two ago. Looking really, really cool. That Sand Trooper came out with the dewback, but I didn't pick up the dewback, and I'll show you guys why later in the collection. But yeah, looking pretty cool. And then there's a little tiny AT-AT in there as well, just to give it something in there. But yeah, not a lot of love in this shelf, but still, it works. Alrighty guys, moving up to the top of the next Detolf set. I've got sort of a Episode 3 Anakin homage up here. Obviously taking a lot of creative licensing with this one. I've got the Episode 3 Anakin. That's like the 1.0 Hot Toys version of this. I know they've come out with a number of them since then and continue to. But this is the first version they came out. He obviously has the Sith eyes. He's total in Darth Vader Sith mode here, and I've got him with a holocron that actually came with my Episode 3 Sideshow Collectibles Palpatine 2-pack that came out years and years and years ago. So anyway, I've got him holding that holocron there just to be just to do something kind of fun in this pseudo Mustafar backdrop that I created. And then of course I spoke about that Empire Strikes Back helmet from the Empire Strikes Back Hot Toys figure in just the shelf over. Well, there's the helmet from that Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader sitting on the rock. I don't know if I'm kind of going for some kind of Shakespearean kind of shit here, but I think it looks pretty cool. Just coming down to the next shelf here, man, I got my Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. This is one of the renditions, or one of the versions of Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker that Hot Toys came out with, again, a couple of years ago. I've got him kind of set up here in a shelf with a bunch of accessories from other figures, actually. Those steps there came with the deluxe Return of the Jedi Darth Vader, which you guys will see here in a few minutes. And that background came with the second Mandalorian Season 2 Luke Skywalker. I bought 2 of them, and you'll see why here later in the tour. So that backdrop came from him. So he's really hodgepodged in there with a number of different accessories from other Hot Toys figures. And, of course, he's got a CCFL custom lightsaber as well. So that's looking rad. I love this shelf a lot. This is sort of a centerpiece shelf on here. The way it's laid out, the height it's at, just looks really good to me. Again, and I love that windswept hair with Luke there. Very iconic from the Return of the Jedi poster from 1983. Next shelf down, and we got some Episode 2 love. Episode 2 is sort of a neglected film for a number of years, many years actually, in the realm of premium collectibles from companies like Hot Toys and Sideshow. But they're stepping up now, and they've definitely done a lot of make goods since its 20th anniversary back in 2022. So anyway, I've got the Anakin Skywalker Padawan version. This is probably my favorite version of Anakin. For whatever reason, I've just always really liked this particular version of Anakin, as well as the beautiful Padme Amidala there with her Geonosis jumpsuit there, looking cool. And then I did make a custom background for them. As you guys can see, I tried to kind of make a Geonosian type archway there with some Geonosian colored rocks and whatnot. And then I utilized the space in front to actually use their stands for something kind of cool. You know, that kind of represents that droid factory look as the droid factory is kind of meeting up with the cold industrialness of the droid factories meeting up with the ancient looking simplistic architecture of the Geonosian culture. So that looks really cool, I think. And this is probably one of my top 5 shelves for sure. And bottom shelf down here, guys. I got some fun headcanon going on down here. I've got the Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett there on his throne. Looking very cool with that Tamara Morrison profile. Face sculpt going on, which looks pretty cool. And then behind him, he's flanked by 2 IG droids. I've got IG-88 and IG-11 back there. Now that would be cool. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just like to play with my toys, and I like to kind of get away from what would be screen accurate, if you can't tell already. But that would have been a cool concept to have Boba Fett flanked by 2 killer assassin droids in his palace. That would have been really badass. But what do I know? I guess so. Back to the top of the last detolf, and the last detolf in this tour, actually. But that doesn't mean we're done with premium 1/6 scale figures by any stretch. No. But you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. But anyway, on to the last shelf here, the last detolf shelf. The top shelf here is actually a double shelf. I actually would like to put another shelf up there. It'd have to be a modified one because of the way the detolf is designed and what I have in this one. But I think it would look really rad to put another shelf up there with some smaller figs. But yeah, I got sort of just an Imperial montage sort of thing here going on here. The Return of the Jedi Darth Vader from Hot Toys, as well as a Stormtrooper from Hot Toys and the Royal Guard from Hot Toys as well, and mixed in a few other accessories from other figure sets, including that interrogation droid that came with the original New Hope Vader, which you guys saw earlier in the tour. All right, guys, next shelf down. This is more of a placeholder shelf. We're going to spend about 0 amount of time here, but yeah, I got this Hasbro, this very, very ancient old Hasbro Death Star droid chilling in there, and he's going to be chilling in there, or, in the collection anyway, until we get a decent Death Star droid from either Sideshow or Hot Toys or somewhere. Yeah, but he's still cool. For a Hasbro figure, he's still cool, and yeah, so he's just chilling on this shelf. That's sort of just sort of an expansion shelf, I guess, which is sort of rare for me to say that I have an expansion shelf. The bottom shelf, man, I just got some Astromech love here, specifically some Imperial Astromech love. All of these are Sideshow collectible variations of R2 units. 2 of them are Imperial R2 units, or R5 units in the case of the back one. I can't remember their designations, but yeah, they're pretty rad. I like them a lot. And they're kind of long in the teeth, but they still look amazing. And then the solid gray one back there, that's actually a prototype R2-D2, but he can pass for really any fill-in-the-blank Astromech R5 droid that you'd want to. And then the backdrop is just a cool backdrop that I bought from a customizer off of eBay, I think. Oh, and hanging out just outside of this detolf, well, not inside of the detolfs, and speaking of Imperial droid love, I got an Imperial probe droid here. This is from Sideshow Collectibles. This piece is getting up there in the teeth as well there, getting a little long in the teeth as well there, but still looks nice. The only thing is I wish I had a clear acrylic rod for the stand, which I've been talking about getting for years, and I never have. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I will, but probably not. Alright guys, well I did say we were done with 1/6 scale inside of Detolfs, but we are nowhere near done with some premium 1/6 scale on this tour. We still got a little ways to go with that, and we got some awesome ones here inside of these. These are actually shoebox display cases that I bought off Amazon. You flip them vertically and they work brilliantly for 1/6 scale Hot Toys or Sideshow action figures. And they have nice little magnets for the door, so they're sort of secure. Yeah, really, really nice. They actually work really, really good for individual figures when you want to fit a 1/6 scale figure in sort of a tight place, but you still want a little bit of protection for it from the dust. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, we got right here, we got Dark Empire Luke Skywalker. I've showed him off a number of times here on the channel in the last year. One of my faves that I picked up. This one might be one of my favorite figures as well. Again, hard to pin one down as far as what my ultimate favorite is right now, but he might be one of them for sure. And then next door to him, again, I've showed him off a number of times on the channel as well. We have my 1/6 scale. This is from the Clone Wars. This is obviously a live action version of Darth Sidious from the Clone Wars, you know, when he hunts down Savage Opress and Darth Maul and kicks the frickin' shit out of him on Mandalore. So this is the 1/6 scale realistic version of him, and I think he pairs real nice with this Dark Empire Luke if you know the comic books. I think that's kind of cool. And then coming up here, guys, we got another one for you guys, another beautiful figure. This, of course, is the Season 7 Clone Wars Darth Maul. I have mine displayed shirtless because I think he looks badass like that. I have him displayed with a custom LED lightsaber blade, and he looks really, really cool. Of course, he also works for the Darth Maul series as well, which is really good. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I would recommend it on Disney+. Anyway, and then moving on next door to that, yeah, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Kenobi series. He's also a fine-looking action figure, and he fits in there pretty well. He might actually go better in a regular Detolf. I'd like to have him a little more spread out than what he is. He's a little cramped in there, but still looking good. Alrighty, and coming up here, yeah, we got an empty one here. I got some expansion room. That's kind of rare in my collection. And then, of course, I've got Ponda Baba and Dr. Evazan there. Those are from Sideshow Collectibles. Those are very recent Sideshow Collectible 1/6 scale figures, as you guys know, from their Scum and Villainy collection. But I love these ones a lot. I had to get this pair when I saw they were going out in 1/6 scale, because that's just iconic, man. That's such an awesome, iconic pair from A New Hope, from the original Star Wars film.
Most of the best freighter pilots are to be found here. Only watch your step. This place can be a little rough.
All right, guys, next up, we're heading over to this side of the room, the back end of the room, to check out all the awesome figures in these shoebox display cases as well. All right, guys, so first up, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi here in Mandalorian armor from Season 7 of the Clone Wars. And then moving next door, we've got, from Episode 2, both the C-3PO and R2-D2 there. And we've got R2-D2 there on a flight stand, which is very, very cool and kind of unique for all the R2s that I have in my collection, to have him posed up like that. And of course, we've got C-3PO there with his early coverings, which looks very, very cool. And then next door to them, keeping with that prequel era theme, we've got a Sideshow Collectibles Battle Droid. He was part of a Sideshow Collectibles Battle Droid 2-pack. You'll see his other peer later in the tour. And then we have a Super Battle Droid from Hot Toys, which came out within the last couple of years. Captain Rex and Anakin Skywalker are filling in the next shoebox case. Next door to them, again, staying within that prequel time frame, looking awesome. We've got some more Clone Wars love over here with a live-action versioning of Ahsoka, as seen in Season 7 of the Clone Wars, and a Clone Wars version of Anakin Skywalker. He actually came with the STAP speeder, which you guys will see in just a few minutes here. Coming down from them, I've got a Sideshow Collectibles Emperor Palpatine. That's an older piece with his Polystone throne, which is kind of cool. All right, and next door to him, we've got, from the Mandalorian Season 2, I believe, a Death Trooper. Death Trooper Squad Commander or whatever, and he's leading a pair of older but really still really awesome Sideshow Collectibles Snow Troopers there. So that looks pretty rad. And next we have the second of that Mandalorian Boba Fett 2-pack there, with Boba Fett all in his Tusken Raider outfit, so to speak, there with a Hot Toys Tusken Raider figure as well. Both of these obviously are from season 2 of The Mandalorian. And then moving down, you guys can see I did a little bit of a diorama work in this one, which I actually really like this one a lot. Excuse the glare there, because I actually have a little underground guy down there, a little underground rodent there, chilling out in the kind of trying to keep cool in the Tatooine sun. I just thought that was kind of cool, a little added that I did for that one. So pat on my back there. I think that looks kind of cool. But yeah, that's a fun looking diorama. And over here, well, I'm letting my headcanon take over a little bit on this one here to sort of justify having what is a really, actually, character design-wise, a really cool older Grandmaster Luke Skywalker. I've got Luke Skywalker there and Grogu with a trusty sequel-era droid there as they are hunting Abeloth on some distant world. And inside of that photograph behind Luke there actually has Abeloth superimposed against those moons. I can't see it to save my life, but I know I put it in there when I had it printed off, and I did see it at one point. So yeah, she's in there. She's spying on them on this distant moon as Grogu, Luke Skywalker's apprentice, and Luke himself are out there hunting Abeloth there. That's pretty rad. I may be adding another character into this diorama, another sequel character at a really, really soon date. I was actually going to do it for this room tour. I just didn't get a chance to. But yeah, looking cool. And lastly, another addition to my Shit We Don't Get collection. Again, utilizing a little headcanon here, I've got a Mandalorian Season 2 Luke Skywalker, and the second one I own. Like I said, I own 2. You saw the first one earlier in the tour. And then I did a custom with a Han Solo there. I got a Harrison Ford Han Solo head and put it on the Solo Han Solo. I like the Solo Han Solo uniform a lot. Again, the character design's off the charts, awesome. But anyway, put them in a diorama together. Obviously, they've just gotten through a vicious battle with some Imperial remnants there, and Han is comforting Luke as Luke is regretting all the killing he had to do there. And yeah, they got a really cool door behind them, and again, just another diorama that I put together that I'm actually pretty proud of this one. Guys, now getting away from figures that I have displayed in cases and cabinets here, I've got some of the 1/6 scale premium figs I've got sort of displayed out in the open, including this. I wouldn't call this a Jabba the Hutt's palace display, more of like a Jabba the Hutt's palace montage, maybe. There's just different elements of Jabba's palace in here. It's not necessarily in any kind of film dioramic order. But I have the old Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale Han and Carbonite over here. That's a pretty old piece. That's a Metacom Boba Fett, really, really old. There, right there, is the Sideshow Collectibles Princess Leia as Boushh. I'm real tempted to get the new Hot Toys figure. She is definitely due for an update. That's a very, very old figure. Up here, I've got a Gamorrean Guard from Sideshow Collectibles. Got a Jawa from Hasbro. I got 2 Salacious Crumbs in there, if you can see them. One is from Hot Toys. One came with this Jabba the Hutt. This, of course, is the newer Jabba the Hutt that came out a couple of years ago. I did have Jabba the Hutt 1.0 from Sideshow Collectibles, but I did sell him. One of the rare pieces I've actually sold in my collection. When I got this guy, because I just think this guy is absolutely stellar. Not that the old one was anything to shake a stick at. It was a pretty great figure in itself. But yeah, I did a compare and contrast of both of them years ago here on the channel. If you want to go check that out, it wouldn't be too hard to find in my video catalog. But yeah, moving over here, I've got another Gamorrean Guard there from Sideshow Collectibles. Got some Hasbro pieces in there. And then, of course, I've got the Sideshow Collectibles Jabba the Hutt's palace wall there, which was done by Sideshow many years ago when they were doing dioramic elements for their 1/6 scale line. My Jabba the Hutt, I've got another pseudo dioramic scene with my 1/6 scale figures. Over here, I've got a bit of a New Hope thing going on.
Mos Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
the older Hot Toys Luke Skywalker, the Hot Toys Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope, and then there is an R2-D2 and a C-3PO. The C-3PO is Sideshow Collectibles. The R2-D2, I believe, is Bandai, actually, which is pretty rad. And then I've got some Jazz Inc. Accessories in there as well, including that land speeder and the moisture. And up above those pieces, I've got another A New Hope pseudo diorama here with figuring Dan and the Moodle Nodes. The 1/6 scale version of these figures. These are actually from Hasbro, or Kenner, actually. Technically, these are late 90s Kenner. Picked up the entire band for like $100 recently. Not recently, but a couple years ago at a collector's store. Thought that was pretty cool. I would love to have gotten the Sideshow versions of these, but they were way out of price for me at this point. And then, of course, I've got a Sideshow Collectibles Greedo back there as well. And the add-on wall I created myself, but the big arch over here obviously is from Sideshow Collectibles as well. The Mos Eisley Cantina piece that was out years and years ago. I got it on a spooktacular sale that when Sideshow used to have really, really good sales in October. I picked it up then, but yeah, that's a nice looking display as well. And up here, more 1/6 scale love. There's Darth Malgus. This is from Sideshow, not Hot Toys. This is from Sideshow. This is an older piece, but still holding up in my collection. I don't feel the need to buy the new Hot Toys one because this guy still looks really, really good for what he is. He's Darth Malgus. He doesn't have the most largest nostalgia pull for me just because he's an expanded universe character, but still very, very cool. And then all the way down there on the end is the Vader from the Kenobi series, and I really cannot get to him very well with my camera because of all the shit I have in the way here, but you guys can see him over there. I have him with the Anakin portrait exposed, looking very, very menacing, very, very cool. So yeah, that's pretty rad. And I'm going to be filling in the gaps here with all this miscellaneous stuff you guys are seeing later in the video across the collection, so don't worry, I'll get to all of it. Of 1/6 scale collectibles in my collection. I have the old Sideshow Collectibles Battle Droid on top of that STAP vehicle. That STAP vehicle came with the Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker I showed off earlier in the video from Hot Toys. And then, of course, the real reason I didn't get the new Hot Toys dewback, which looked amazing, is I just can't stop really loving my old Sideshow Collectibles Polystone dewback. I just think it's still an amazing piece. Still holds up, and that's not to say anything bad against the Hot Toys one that just came out. That's an awesome piece as well, but I just, sometimes when you can save $800, you can save $800. You know what I'm saying. And then up here, I've got a Remnant Scout Trooper with a Remnant Speeder Bike, looking very, very cool. And then down from him is another Remnant Scout Trooper as well. So that's sort of the arch. That's like the arch piece above my fireplace here, filled in with 1/6 scale collectibles, which looks pretty cool. Sleep on my 1/6 scale Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker from Sideshow Collectibles with the Tauntaun, an amazing piece. The Tauntaun is polystone. Luke Skywalker is like a standard Sideshow Collectibles action figure, so a bit of a mixed media on this one, but it's still amazing, looking really, really cool with that Empire Strikes Back logo I purchased off of Etsy. All right, and one more mini diorama area of 1/6 scale awesomeness I have is, of course, my pair of blurgs. How could I forget my pair of blurgs with the version 1 Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, and his faithful companion Quill there with little baby Grogu riding with Quill, all wrapped up and swaddled. But yeah, those are awesome. Those blurgs are really, really damn cool. I got a Womp Rat chilling out down there for no particular reason. And then, of course, over here, just chilling with them for, again, no particular reason, is the Mythos 1/6 scale Boba Fett from Sideshow Collectibles. Yeah, so that's really cool. Bow on my 1/6 scale premium collection. Last but certainly not least is, of course, my battle damaged Darth Vader. I unboxed him just recently on the channel, so you guys can go back and watch that video. It's not very far down in my video catalog if you want to see more of this guy. Absolutely epic, awesome piece. Got him displayed here with a Remnant Stormtrooper BD1 from the Vader comic, a Remnant Scout Trooper, and then there's just a generic plain Hasbro 1/6 scale Stormtrooper that I have sort of as a place filler back there. But yeah, looking very cool. I love this piece a lot. And like I said, this was like a piece that I just recently picked up, and it looks awesome here in my collection. I've been enjoying him ever since I picked him up. And like I said, if you want to see more of him, check him out. Check out the video I did a couple weeks back. Guys, well, hey, it's time to move on to my TVC/3.75 collectibles. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. As I said, we're going to be switching over into 3.75 action figures for this section of the room tour. Now, most of my 3.75 figures are displayed in dioramas, so most of all the displays you're going to be seeing here in the next couple minutes in this room tour are going to be mostly dioramas, which I'm actually really proud of. And there's a wide scale different dioramas here that I've made myself to things I've bought off Etsy and etc. So anyway, let's get started, man. We're going to start over in this corner over here where you guys can see there is a ton of 3.75 action. And let's just start right over here. Hey guys, well, I got some indoor love over here, and the inspiration of this diorama that I built myself was sort of Luke, Han, Chewie, Grogu visiting Endor 5 years after the Battle of Endor with Luke training Grogu. And of course, Ahsoka shows up like she always does to cross her arms and wonder what the hell's going on. And that's just sort of her MO, I guess. But anyway, we got the Ewoks, man. The Ewoks are here, and they're having a little fishing party here, so they're fishing. We got the Ewoks fishing in this nice stream here. Like there's a large alien indoor fish there, and meanwhile Grogu is levitating some frogs there out of the pond. We got baby Ewoks looking on here. We got Chewie over here and Han. We got a downed AT-ST that was probably destroyed during or after the Battle of Endor. And of course, we've got R2-D2 and Ahsoka chilling on the dock over here with Luke Skywalker. Yeah, this is fun. I had a lot of fun creating this diorama. I used a number of different types of things for it, including aquarium decorations. I basically destroyed an older AT-ST vehicle that I had that wasn't working, wasn't standing real well. So I just said screw it and just blazed it up and painted it all battle damaged like it had exploded at some point. And yeah, then of course I made this awesome cool little river here out of resin. And you guys can see all the way back there, there's an Ewok chilling back there as well. So yeah, this is a fun one. I enjoyed this one a lot. And then right next to it I have a AT-ST that's in much better shape. It's not really part of the diorama, but it's there. So that's pretty cool. We're going to kind of ignore the Black Series stuff right now. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But for right now, let's move over here and look at some more dioramas. I've got sort of a Coruscant nightclub scene going on over here. Again, with the backdrops that I picked up off Etsy from Cardstock Cantina. I've talked a lot about them on my channel over the years. So if you just want easy dioramas to put your 3.75 figures and some Black Series figures too, they have those as well. Cardstock Cantina off Etsy, you can't go wrong. And then coming over here, I have some kind of Outer Rim street market there. Han Solo maybe making a deal with that's actually Captain Tarfles from Revenge of the Sith, but he can be whoever we want him to be. But yeah, so we've just sort of got this could be Tatooine, it could be some other Outer Rim world here. We just got a lot of action going on here, a lot of commerce going on here. We got Watto back there. Of course, he could be any Toydarian, who knows? There's a Stormtrooper just sort of chilling out on patrol. All his armor's kind of dinged up. He's obviously a guy who's just sort of on the outs with the Empire, and he's just at a really backwoods kind of station there. But that's pretty cool. And then we have the continuation over here of the Coruscanti nightclub. Got Dr. Evazor there talking to Lando Calrissian. Lando's trying to broker a deal to figure out what happened to Han after he was put in carbonite at Bespin. And we got a really cool looking band chilling out over here. They're headlining the event, obviously. And we got a droid back there serving drinks. So yeah, this looks pretty cool. Then we've got this dude's brother over here drinking heavily because he's jealous of his brother's extreme talent. So yeah, that's what's chilling. Alrighty, next shelf up here, we just sort of have a meeting of the minds of all the huge warlords in the galaxy, having a face-to-face with the Emperor and Darth Vader probably like on a super star destroyer somewhere. And so we have the Emperor, we got Vader, we've got Admiral Ozzel there, we've got Moff Tarkin, we got got Grand Admiral Thrawn back there, chilling out, hoping that his tryout for the Blue Man Group goes well. And then of course there's Vader. That's a nice VC Vader there. And there's a really cool Emperor in there as well. But anyway, that's a nice looking set. Again, that's from the backdrop is from Cardstock Cantina. And then speaking of Cardstock Cantina, yet another Cardstock Cantina backdrop here. This is sort of a Tatooine theme. We got Obi-Wan Kenobi on his Yopi meeting with a band of Jawas, hoping to broker something, trying to find some parts for his moisture evaporator, perhaps. Who knows? It's it's whatever we want it to be, because Star Wars is about using our imagination, right, guys? Absolutely. So yeah, this is a fun diorama here as well. Again, 3.75 inches, so fun and so easy to work with, in as far as making dioramas on what would be more difficult to do on larger scale figures like 1/6. And then over here we've got Hoth, man. We got Han Solo there mounting up a tauntaun. He's going out to find Luke Skywalker as he's stranded out on the wastes of Hoth during a horrible storm, and he's kind of being told that his tauntaun's gonna freeze when he reaches the first marker, and Han Solo's like, "You can go to hell." So yeah, I'll see you in hell. So anyway, this is just a cool diorama as well. Again, backdrop from Cardstock Cantina. Next shelf up here, showing this off a number of times here on my channel, what would have been a Power of the Force 2 diorama. Basically, it's the Death Star escape or Death Star swing escape set, with Luke and Princess Leia. What I've basically done is turned it into a giant platform there with Luke Skywalker at the peak of his Jedi powers, with R2-D2 hovering over this giant pit with his rocket packs going, facing off against Balin's skull. And what he doesn't know, there's a Dark Trooper hanging out back there too. Balin Skull's about to lose his head because he's about to fight fucking Luke Skywalker. And so yeah, that's badass right there. So this is a really fun looking diorama that I did. And again, I found this piece at a hobby shop in package. I opened it. It was like $10. It's crazy how much those Power of the Force 2 pieces just have not gone up in price. So that's pretty cool. Right, guys, moving past this awesome vintage snowspeeder with X-Wing pilot in it, or Luke Skywalker. Man, I have the awesome Star Tours Star Cruiser here. Now, I picked up the Star Cruiser last fall when I was at Disneyland with my wife for my 50th birthday. Picked this guy up, and I just figured I'd put a bunch of employees in front of it, basically. Since the Star Tours is basically run by droids, I just threw a bunch of my favorite droids in here. A lot of these are kind of Disney asteroids, but some of them aren't. But anyway, we got C-3PO and R2-D2 there in the front. It's like an employee, picture there. They're in front of the cruiser there. They're all getting their picture taken, basically. But yeah, a lot of fun. Just a hodgepodge of different droids in here. I'm not gonna go into every single one of them because I can't even remember their designations outside of R2-D2 and C-3PO, really. But yeah, there's just a lot of fun here. And once again, there is the Star Cruiser itself. And I showed this off on my channel a couple of times, and I should really do a full review on it. I never have done that. It's actually got a lot of cool bells and whistles on it. From the next shelf, I got some Imperial love up here with another AT-ST Walker. A number of Imperial agents there, and stormtroopers and maintenance droids hanging out in front of some kind of barracks, maybe. I don't know. Maybe this is pre-Battle of Endor. Maybe it's after the Battle of Endor, and these guys are just remnants. Who knows? But anyway, we got a nice Imperial shelf there with a lot of cool Imperial figures. Like, again, I got that nice VC Remnant Stormtrooper there. And that's a gaming great figure. I forget his name. It's like an elite trooper thing. And then we got an AT-ST driver there. And of course, another AT-ST driver up here in the Walker itself. And there's a nice backdrop there. Oh, there's a K2 droid in there as well. So then moving over here to the Rebel Alliance, we got General Dodonna there giving a briefing to a number of Rebel pilots before probably an important mission. Who knows? Maybe it's a mission to go take out these assholes. Who knows? But yeah, we got General Dodonna there giving out some orders. General Madine's in attendance. So is Mon Mothma. Two Mon Mothmas, actually, but maybe they're sisters. Who knows? But yeah, we got some Rebel pilots over here, including a couple pilots from that Rebel pilot 4-pack that came out this year. Pretty cool. Pretty awesome looking pilots. I really like that Duros pilot a lot. I think he's really cool. The blue dude, the Duros. I think he is really, really rad. And then the next shelf over here, this is sort of like a smuggler shelf. Again, we got another AT-ST Walker. I got a lot of AT-STs. So just sort of realizing that. But yeah, we got the AT-ST Raider from The Mandalorian Season 1, but, you know, in this case, we just got a lot of sort of scum and villainy and pirates hanging out here, including Han Solo, Kira, there's Din Djarin in there, there's Chewbacca, there's that zombie R5 droid, which is kind of cool. He came out for Halloween, but he actually really just fits in there as just like a busted up R5. And we got some porgs in there for whatever reason. And we got a really cool Weequay. That's a VC Weequay. We've got a VC pirate raider guy that kind of comes with the ATSD. But yeah, that's really cool. And the next shelf up from that, we got Din Djarin and Migs Mayfield there infiltrating an Imperial base somewhere in the Outer Rim. But again, that backdrop is from Etsy as well. It's once again Cardstock Cantina, giving them a lot of love here. But yeah, looking cool. They're not a sponsor. I've paid full price for everything. I just like their products, so I'll, you know, shout them out when I can because they're just a small business. But anyway, yeah, really nice looking shelf there. We got an Imperial officer there. We got some stormtroopers. We got some tech droids, a lot hanging out in there, and we got these two guys just coming in from their patrol, pretending to you know, infiltrate the base there to figure out where Bibba Grogu is. So that's kind of cool. And then moving across from there, we've got the Death Star Escape playset from the Power of the Force 2 collection from 1996, 1997, but got more modern figs on there. These are obviously not Power of the Force 2 action figures. They're definitely more modern, but looking very cool. And there's C-3PO and R2-D2 in there as well. But again, for an old ass playset, it really makes a really nice diorama for something that's almost 30 years old. And as you guys can see, it really hosts modern figs just absolutely beautifully. And then coming over here, we got some more figs. Got some Acolyte love. And I use that term, you know, sort of sparingly. I picked them up off deep discount. But again, great looking figures, great looking character design. I actually really liked both those characters in the show anyway. But anywho, and we got some more droids in there. We got Season 7 Ahsoka in there as well. So just sort of a mix in there. Not really a diorama, just sort of a mix. But we do have a diorama up here, man. We got the Emperor chilling out with his governors or his Imperial dignitaries with some guards there. And a really nice backdrop in there as well. And then the next shelf is just sort of a hodgepodge shelf. Boy, excuse the dust up there. I didn't get up there with the duster. But yeah, we got just a nice hodgepodge of different VC figures up there. I really like that Lando figure. I know he was a shelf peg warmer forever, shelf warmer, but man, he's a great figure. I like him a lot. And then over here, well, we got some Hoth love. We got two Wampas, and we got Luke and Han in there. So that's pretty fun. Alrighty, coming up here, we got a Season 7 VC Darth Maul figure. Actually, it worked for Maul Shadowhunter as well. We've got a number of Jedi Padawans in there. We got Yoda from the Clone Wars from years ago. We got Rune Haku and what's his nut from the Phantom Menace. There's just some Nemoidians hanging out there, which is really cool. And then coming over here, once again, we got this really cool shelf. A couple more shout outs on here. We got Bo-Katan. We got Count Dooku there, Lobot. Yes, that's fun. And then we got a little Hoth love over here with Luke Skywalker in the back to tank there with Han and Leia looking on and some droids. So yeah, that's cool too. And while I'm up here, let's just scoot over here, and here's my 3.75 inch scale Rancor collection. So yeah, those are pretty cool. We got Rancors from all across the 3.75 inch divide. Actually, this isn't technically a 3.75 inch Rancor, although he scales up with it. I'm not sure what the hell he is. I found him at a collector store and bought him. I don't know what he is actually, but he's cool. Moving over here, we got my 3.75 inch Legacy AT-AT Walker. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's one of the best 3.75 inch pieces ever done in the Star Wars line, going back to 1978, in my humble little opinion. And then we've got, of course, two AT-AT drivers, and a Imperial officer there, kind of showing it off. Kind of, because it sort of looks like an Imperial propaganda poster kind of thing. Oh, with a really cool sort of generic, but really cool Empire Strikes Back Atari 2600 game still in package, which is pretty cool. Down from the ad, we've got the skiff there with Luke Skywalker. I'll just cover this whole shelf while we're here. We've got Luke Skywalker and everyone. Sort of not really film accurate as far as who was on Luke and Han and Lando and Chewie's skiff per se during the battle at the Sarlacc pit, but yeah, it's just fun. That's a nice vintage collection skiff that I picked up a couple years ago. And there's some Black Series love. That's old Return of the Jedi book back there is from my childhood from 1983. I've talked about it in the past. And then there's a Gentle Giant bust in there as well. Now moving back over here, going back into 3.75 inch, we got the Razor Crest, the Hasbro Pulse Razor Crest. Picked this up. I did not back it at the time. Picked it up aftermarket off Mercari, I think. Anyway, I paid about $500 for it. Did not come with the figures. Did a full review on it back in the day when I got it. I've had it for a couple years now. But anyway, so I got a vintage collection. Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, right here with R5D4 right next to that cool collectible lunch plate sitting underneath the Razor Crest, which is very, very cool. And then coming down here, guys, well, I'm ready for the Mandalorian and Grogu. Why the hell not? So anyway, we have there Naboo N1 Starfighter from Season 3, sort of Book of Boba Fett too. So that's a fun piece. I like that a lot. I love having Baby Grogu chilling out there in the cockpit, looking cool. And then over here, showed this off in my last video, got the new deluxe 3.75 inch Din Djarin and Baby Grogu there on top of an old ATRT. That's actually a Clone Wars era ATRT, but works good for them as well. Might need a new paint job, but otherwise works for them. Got some Nilla Grogu Nilla nummies there.
No. That is not food.
Which are really fucking delicious. My dogs liked them anyway. Pretty damn awesome. Alright, you guys, and coming down here, we got Han Solo from the Solo film in his speeder, hanging out with some alien dude. Don't know why he managed to land in there. That's one of the aliens from the planet, the asteroid, I should say, where Luke and Leia were born on in Episode 3. That's an Episode 3 figure. I just threw him in there for fun. And then over here we have a skiff there. That's the older skiff. It's not a vintage skiff, although it's based off the vintage mold, but it's an older skiff. And I threw some Acolyte figures on there that I got on the cheap there. And you can see maybe there's a Last Jedi Luke Skywalker in there. I don't know. Maybe it's Luke Skywalker, in his golden age, helping train this young Jedi Knight or escorting this young Jedi Knight on this important mission to deliver these sisters to a warlord or something, and there's a droid in there as well. And it's going to be a risky mission across a very dangerous planet. And so Luke Skywalker just sort of came out of retirement to assist. It's headcanon, people. It's headcanon. It's just having fun. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's a fun display with some figures that I got off deep discount that still look amazing and actually look amazing in the collection, and you can do just fun shit with them. And so I think that's a lot of fun, honestly. But so yeah, pretty cool, right? On the bottom shelf here, we got my Slave 1, guys. It's a really, really nice Slave 1 with some carded figures behind it and a animated version of Boba Fett. So sorry, bottom shelves get kind of weird, but it is what it is. But yeah, great piece though. Just moving down my shelves just to get you guys sort of a location of where we're at here. We got, oh, look at this. We got the Imperial Light Cruiser diorama that came out, and we've got Moff Gideon there admiring his Dark Troopers there with with a squad of Death Troopers behind him. Very lethal force there of Imperial remnants. And there's a lone, dopey, low-grade Stormtrooper keeping guard over here. And then, of course, we've got an Imperial transport there. That looks really, really cool. Sorry, I can't show you the whole thing. It's kind of tucked behind this detail. And up above that, we've got the Land of the Tusken Raiders here, including this new Bantha that just came out in the vintage collection. I love that Bantha a lot. That is a gorgeous looking Bantha. And just some miscellaneous Tusken Raider figures from across the last 30 years of collecting 3.75 inch Star Wars. We got some Massifs there, some older Massifs from 2002 with a newer Massif from, I think, this last year. So yeah, very, very, very fun. Very cool. And then, of course, we have the older Power of the Force 2 Bantha over here, and there's a Ronto back there with some Jawas. You guys can see them kind of tucked back behind there. But again, that old Bantha still holds up with the new one. They sit on a shelf. Absolutely beautiful together. If you guys can't see that, looking absolutely great. Guys, and before we leave this section of the room and go over and check out some more 3.75 inch figures and dioramas and displays, I just got a nice little pocket of figs over here. A lot of these I've unboxed recently on the channel and just kind of left them over here in the corner over here. I do love that Watto's box, man, from 1999. That's just an amazing cinema scene. Very, very cool. I got Vader there, a vintage collection Vader there, posed up with a lot of VC Stormtroopers. It's just a great looking display in general there, and little episode 2 love in there as well, with really the trinity of the prequels with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool right over here. Again, you guys can see where we are in the collection. There's the battle damaged Hot Toys Vader I showed off to you guys earlier. And then over here, one more. If we go up here one more, you guys can check out this really cool Biker Scout. That's a VC Biker Scout. Right next to my, I'll just cover it since we're right here, right next to my Kenner Biker Scout blaster pistol that I got as a kid. So that's pretty fun, right? All right, guys, heading back over to this side of the room. I got a couple more VC era and 3.75 inch dioramas, most notably my Jabba's Palace. Now, this thing was originally marketed or branded as from the Book of Boba Fett for Boba Fett's Palace, but you know, they also did come out with a Jabba 3.75 inch Jabba the same year that fit beautifully in there. So of course it's got to be Jabba's Palace, man. You got to go with that. Now, none of this is real screen accurate from Return of the Jedi, and as far as the denizens that are inhabiting this in his palace currently, but who knows? Across the whole era of Star Wars, you know, I'm sure Jabba's had many different types of visitors. So yeah, you guys can just kind of see all the figures I have in there. Again, really fun. I did full reviews on both of those here on my channel, you know, going back last year or 2 years ago. So you guys can go check out those videos if you want to see more details on this guy, because he is fantastic. But yeah, that's pretty rad. In the shelf below that, I've got Luke Skywalker facing off with Darth Vader. That's the Dark Times Darth Vader from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, by the way. It's a vintage collection figure. Very awesome. On this really cool basically carbon freeze chamber piece. It's like a half piece, and you could get another one and make the whole chamber, I guess. But you know, I think it's just cool for this. I've got it backlit underneath it, so yeah, that looks pretty damn awesome as well. And tucked over here in my, basically in the middle of my Kenner retro collection, I do have, and we'll be getting to those here in a minute, but I do have my really cool Tana V4 playset there with that really nice Princess Leia, and then the Tana V4 officer, the Rebel officer that came with it. Yeah, looking really cool. Some Rebel droids there, obviously C-3PO and R2-D2. Pieces of VC love for you guys. Here's my Luke Skywalker's X-Wing fighter, and he looks absolutely awesome. I picked up these ladders off eBay from a seller. Sent me a couple different variations of X-Wing ladders. I think it looks pretty cool. And I've got the VC Luke Skywalker and X-Wing fighter gear, preparing to board his X-Wing there with R2 waiting in the droid slot. Looking very cool. And I've got some odds and ends over here, just some stuff that's sitting around waiting to be loaded inside of his X-Wing. And yeah, no, there's Biggs Dark Letter over here. That makes no sense, but whatever. So yeah, that's pretty damn cool. And then behind him, I have the Jawa Sandcrawler that was offered at the Disney parks. I think it was a park exclusive a number of years back. I've been meaning to do some customization on this. I want to really like grease it up and dirty it up with some acrylic paints and maybe get some lighting inside of it. But it looks pretty cool. Again, it's obviously undersized. We're not, you know, this isn't film accuracy by any stretch, just something fun. But I think it looks pretty rad. So again, I've been meaning to do a little bit of a custom job on that, and I still will. But you know, it's just can't get to everything, unfortunately. Oh man, how can we forget about the Millennium Falcon, the Legacy Millennium Falcon from 2010? Again, did some diorama work on this, some insulation foam and just some other miscellaneous things, and some 3D print-offs I got off Etsy, as well as some other just miscellaneous stuff that came with various action figures from over the years. Of course, I have the VC New Hope Han Solo arguing with the VC New Hope Chewbacca underneath the Millennium Falcon there, obviously having a little bit of a discussion as to who's going to load up all this fucking cargo here. And of course, you know, we always have to have Han and Chewie arguing, because that's just part of their character, and it makes them so awesome. So yeah, I've noticed that over the course of this room tour, I've noticed that I tend to have all my Han Solos, at least a lot of them, posed in the exact same pose with his arms outstretched like this, like, hey, what the hell? Yeah, I love that. So anyway, this is a really, really cool piece. Great looking ship as well. Boss match of my entire 3.75-inch collection, and as far as my dioramas go, this of course is the Mos Eisley Cantina. I backed half the bar last year for that Hasbro Kickstarter. I backed half the bar, and then of course I was able to piece together a lot of the Streets of Mos Eisley over here with that play set back there, which is just really basically just a wall, but it looks great. And then of course we have the new VC Luke's Land Speeder in there as well. So absolutely fun, man. I love this. This is definitely my biggest diorama here in the collection, and it's absolutely fantastic. The flooring I made myself. I've talked about it in other videos, and I've got fairy lights wiring up the tables, running underneath all of that foam flooring. You guys ready to look at my Kenner / retro collection? Yeah, let's take a look. Alrighty guys, let's move on to retro and vintage collection figures. All these figures are basically stylized in the original Kenner series from 1978 to 1985, although as you guys can see, and obviously there are a number of figures in here that are brand new, in a sense that they were done by either third parties like Stan Solo or in the retro line from Hasbro itself. And then there's figures in here that are also from my childhood. So it's a really nice mix of figures from across many decades. It's a very fun line, and I've enjoyed collecting it a lot. There's no gatekeeping here, man. I don't care about repro weapons or any of that kind of stuff. This is what it is. So I'm just going to kind of cruise across here just a little bit. We're going to start out up here. Look at that. That's my X-Wing fighter from my childhood, although I've recently restored it and gotten on acrylic stand. That's my childhood biker scout there on speeder bike, and my childhood TIE Interceptor up there as well. So that's really, really cool. Then we're going to come across here, and yeah, you guys can see there's just a number of figures. Some of these are retro. Some of these are from my childhood, man. They can be, I've had some of these figures for 4 months. I've had some of these figures for 40 years. And there's also some non-Star Wars little tiny Easter eggs in there as well, if you can spot them. I love mini rigs. Have I talked about mini rigs? I haven't talked about mini rigs yet tonight, but I love mini rigs. I thought that was one of the most brilliant things that Kenner did back in the vintage line. So there's a really cool mini rig there with Bosk manning that cool looking vehicle. I can't remember the name of it, but it's rad. And again, here we got some more figs here, again, spanning across multiple decades here, and also figures that just don't quite belong in there, but for some reason, if they were in your toy box, you might have played with them with your Star Wars figures. That's kind of the spirit of some of the things I've thrown on this on these shelves. But again, there's another mini rig there with the Stormtrooper. Love that one a lot. And again, I mean, I got some Stan Solo love in there too. You know, I don't discriminate here. There's no gatekeeping here in as far as how I love the vintage retro collection lines from whenever. Anyway, I love that. We got Luke, Han, Leia, R2 and C-3PO there. Then we got my Death Star playset. This wasn't mine from when I was a kid, but I know I've talked about it over multiple videos now, but it wasn't mine from when I was a kid, but it was one I definitely picked up as a priority. Absolutely love it. And then I have a clean 1978 X-Wing fighter up there on an acrylic stand. Not mine from my childhood. I had one as a kid, but it got thrashed. You know, when you're talking about stuff that you had when you were 5 years old, it just, those things didn't make it for me. But so I had to repurpose that one, or repurchase that one, I should say, as an adult. Alrighty guys, I'm moving across some more shelves here. You know, again, I've shown these off so many times on my channel that I don't want to spend too much time on here, because I really feel like sometimes I get redundant here on my channel, and it's something I try to avoid. But you guys can see just so much awesomeness in here from my childhood, and then way beyond that. Again, you know, I've got some awesome retro line figures there from Hasbro, from the Ahsoka, from the Book of Boba Fett and the Ahsoka series there, with a product catalog. If you see behind them, from my childhood, a pack-in product catalog from my childhood from Return of the Jedi. Same thing over here. You guys can see behind Anakin, Luke, and Han there. So yeah, so much awesomeness, so much coolness. There is a, speaking of retro and vintage, there is an activity book from when I was a kid. I've had that forever. Didn't really fill it out, but I just so loved the cover that I made a point to keep it all these years in nice shape. So I did frame it up. Yeah, check it out. That's little Ryan, little knick-knack, whatever you want to call me, there with my Millennium Falcon, my 1978 Millennium Falcon on Christmas morning. I think this is Christmas 1981, maybe. Anyway, I've got a Dallas Cowboys PJs on there with a Denver Broncos robe. I landed on my loyalties with the robe, by the way. But yeah, I love that. That's what it is all about right there. That's why I keep this framed up here. Is this is what it's all about. This is why I have a YouTube channel. This is why I have probably an unhealthy obsession with buying crap as an adult. It's just, this was my life, man. This was the start of it. Yeah. Oh, this is fucking awesome. Had a big head too. Jesus, man, what a potato. Check it out, we're back over at the big bank of details for my 1/6 scale figures, except we're going to be checking out what's below them. I have these customized lacks that I made myself years and years ago to accommodate my details, to have them sitting up higher, but also makes for great little cubbies to store more miscellaneous type items, like a ton of awesome vintage Star Wars collectibles. All right, guys, on shelf number 1 here, I've got just a nice hodgepodge of, these are all pretty much all vintage figures and vintage collectibles down here. I've got my very, very small 12-inch scale Star Wars 1978 Kenner collection, although that Luke Skywalker has some less than vintage clothes on. The pants are vintage, but the rest of his outfit is not. But the C-3PO and R2-D2 Chewbacca, and there's a Vader in the back there, are 100% vintage, which are very, very cool. I've got a record tote in there, not from my childhood, but one I picked up offline somewhere, I think off eBay a number of years ago. That's a beautiful, beautiful record tote. Then coming down here, we got some glassware. We got this bar set up. That's actually a 3D printed bar. It's supposed to be sort of a vintage stylized 3D printed bar with some vintage figures surrounding it, with Luke, Han, Chewie, Greedo, Hammerhead, and Walrus Man chilling out over there. And then we have the original novelization of Star Wars by George Lucas. That's not a first printing, but it's an early printing. It's from the 80s. I picked it up, I know, because I bought it at Kmart back in the day. And we got next to that's actually a 1995 Luke Skywalker reissue that came out with the Power of the Force 2 line, or previous to the Power of the Force 2 line, from Kenner before it was bought by Hasbro. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. So there's just a nice little overview there of that shelf. Looking pretty cool. Let's head on over next door now. Shelf off so many times, guys, but Hoth is definitely the theme here with the Probot turret play set. There's a mini rig in there, that little tank. I love that little tank. We got some Tauntauns. We got Han and Luke and a Rebel soldier on Tauntauns. C-3PO and R2-D2, of course, Princess Leia and Hoth gear, as well as the Rebel Commander there, and some Rebel Hoth soldiers with the Rebel troop transport behind it. That thing is awesome as well. So yeah, again, a shelf that I've shown off many times here, so we're going to move on, but it's a goodie. It's definitely a goodie. And then next door to that, I have my vintage Jabba the Hutt play set with some vintage figures, and then there's actually I think that's a Stan Solo Ula in there, and that might be a Next 17 Mon in there as well. But yeah, there's just a nice mix of figures that, from my childhood that got bought in the 80s, and then figures that got bought in the last 5 years, Again, just absolutely awesome and fun. There is my Parker Brothers Return of the Jedi Battle at Sarlacc Pit game back there. That's from my childhood. I love that. Kept that in good shape because I just adored the artwork since I was a kid. Love that one a lot. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And then I did get a backdrop off there off of Etsy for it as well. So, that's just a nice added bonus. And the final shelf over here. Now, I've shown this off so many times I can't even count, but including, just a couple months ago here on the channel. But that, of course, is my Land of the Jawas playset with that cardboard sand crawler, man. It's pushing 50, just like I'm 50. It's pushing 50. All this stuff is getting up there in age. My childhood land speeder with my childhood Luke Skywalker and my childhood Obi-Wan Kenobi in there, and that's pretty awesome. And then we have my childhood Stormtrooper on top of a Dubek that I picked up years ago, and then that is a brand new retro collection Kenner Sand Trooper there with the orange pauldron. And then, of course, we've got the Land of the Jawas playset once again, absolutely looking awesome. And there might be, again, a little tiny Easter egg in there. Again, man, if it was in your toy box when you were a kid and it kind of met the theme, I love to put them in my Star Wars vintage collection displays. Because for some reason, even a little Battlestar Galactica love, has its place here. And you guys back over onto this side of the room. We got a Grail up here. That's my childhood AT-AT Walker. Got that as a kid. Still in magnificent shape. I think the chin guns are actually reproductions that I picked up to replace the chin guns I was missing. But other than that, it's complete and vintage and from my childhood, and I love it. And of course, there is the blueprint to the same AT-AT Walker that Kenner put out to the U.S. Customs or whatever back in the day for copyright reasons. And then, of course, we have the Imperial Attack Base, too. And I've shown off all of these very, very recently here on the channel, so I'm glazing over them fairly quickly. But, yeah, there's the Imperial Attack Base, manned by a number of snowtroopers, vintage snowtroopers, Darth Vader, and General Veers, a.k.a. AT-AT Commander. It's Black Series time. This will be pretty quick. Back over here, yeah, guys, we're on to the Black Series collection. And Black Series is a collection that I did a very recent video on. So again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over each and every figure I have. I'm just going to give you guys a really, really nice overview of my collection. And here's really the mainstay of my collection here right in front of my television set. I've got them hanging out here on cupcake stands and other basically stuff I found in the kitchen accessories department at your local hardware store or on Amazon. But anyway, I love this collection. I'm not a completist with the Black Series by any means. And again, I've done multiple videos on them recently, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I'm just going to kind of groove over them, just so you guys can kind of see. I don't have my Black Series figures in any sort of configuration, unlike other lines or other scales. I tend to have my Black Series just sort of random. I will shout out this Princess Leia, because when I did the video for my Black Series collection a couple months ago, someone made a point to say that the Princess Leia was really the star of the shelf, and they're kind of right. Although I do like that Han Solo as well. So there's some really, really nice stuff that they've been putting out in the Black Series as of late. It's a great line. It's just a line that's sort of complicated for me. I find that they don't stand very well. I find that they sometimes are harder to display, at least for me. 3.75 inch I can throw in dioramas. 1/6 scale I can throw in dioramas, but for some reason Black Series is a little harder for me. I don't know. Anyway, there's a Cosmic Legion's alien back there. He's not Star Wars, but he is pretty cool. So anyway, moving over here, guys, we're moving over to sort of my Tatooine-esque figures and some other things. Got some Acolyte love in there. There's a Gentle Giant 2002 Anakin Skywalker Padawan. That's not Black Series, but still really cool. And then coming up here, like I said, we've got some sort of Tatooine-themed action figures, although they're not all really directly Tatooine themed, but sort of. But anyway, just some really, really cool stuff in there. All right, leaving those shelves behind, we got some more Black Series love up over in here. That's actually an SH Figure Arts Luke Skywalker. Again, I've shown off this display so many times here on the channel that everyone who's a longtime viewer, subscriber is probably sick of seeing it. But nevertheless, here it is again. This is actually a cardstock Cantina 1/12 scale diorama that I did pick up off Etsy. Again, from Cardstock Cantina, the same seller that did a lot of my 3.75-inch dioramas. But yeah, looking pretty damn cool. And then there's some other more Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, buddy love over here. Just love the thought of those two hanging out and kicking Imperial ass together. And then coming up here, yeah, I got some Stormtroopers there. And one of those is a SH Figure Arts actually, and one of those is a Hasbro. And then I've got a custom Yavin 4 base diorama that I built. And again, you got a number of different figures in here. You got some Hasbro Black Series, you've got some SH Figure Arts, and you got some Mafex in there as well. So very, very, very cool. The R2 is SH Figure Arts, the C-3PO is Mafex, the Chewbacca is Hasbro, the Han and Luke Skywalker SH Figure Arts, and the Leia is Hasbro as well. And then hey, there's that 112 Black Series Mandalorian and Grogu figure I just reviewed on the channel 2 days ago. So here he is chilling out up here, which is pretty cool. Alright guys, in the next section of my Black Series is up there. So we're going to be heading up onto a step. Alrighty guys, so we got like 2 shelves up here. And I had to choose between it being dark or being bright, because if it's bright, then the shadow from me and the phone get in the way of the figures. And if it's dark, you can't see them as well. So I went with dark because I think it shows them off a little bit better. And so you can't see every single detail on the figures, but you get a good idea of what's up here once the camera wants to stay in focus there. Anyway, so I got the Rebels crew over here. Then coming over here, I've got Han Solo from the Solo movie, Obi-Wan from the Obi-Wan series. I love this SH Figure Arts Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi, looking absolutely awesome. We got a Boba Fett up there. We come across here, got a nice little sign over there, Star Wars, a kind of nice marquee for the entire room. And then again, we got some more awesome looking Black Series all the way across here into my little small, tiny Empire Strikes Back section. So anyway, not much to see. And as far as these shelves go, and I've showed them off here on the channel before, but yeah, still looking pretty cool. All right, well, I really appreciate you guys hanging with me. Now, lastly, we're just going to take a little bit of a swing around the collection in sort of a linear pattern this time and just kind of take a look at some of the things that we missed on those mainstay action figure lines. Mostly, we're going to be looking at some statues. We're going to be looking at some 1/1 scale stuff, and we're going to be looking at a lot of other cool, just in-between kind of shit. So let's do it. Let's do it right now. All right, so let's start over in this corner right here, and we're going to be super quick. This is my Home Depot 1/1 scale R2-D2. Absolutely awesome. Picked him up just this last Christmas season at my Home Depot. He was kind of hard to find. Not everyone who wanted one could find one. I got lucky. I got real lucky and did find mine, and I've absolutely loved him. I've done a little bit of customization on him with some of the doing some washes on him and just kind of getting some of his components to kind of raise up so he doesn't look quite so plasticky. But again, I could do a lot more, and I've seen people do some amazing mods with this, and I don't know if I have the balls to do that. But anyway, I'm really happy with how he looks right now. He looks absolutely freaking fantastic. Down here, I got a little BB-8 dude. I don't know if this BB-8 is in scale with his R2. I don't think he is, but that's a dog toy. I don't know if this BB-8 is in scale with his R2, but I like this BB-8 just because my wife got it for me as kind of a gag gift at a thrift store, so you know he's kind of got a nice place here, even though I haven't had him displayed in the main collection for a long time. I brought him out, and then down there we got a droid tank from episode 1, and then check it out, man. I got a Dianoga a pet Dianoga, so to speak. This guy came at was sold at Galaxy's Edge, and he came in this little tank, which I have customized and weathered up, and then also put some resin in there to make him look all ooey and gooey. And I think he makes noise if I push him down. Maybe. No. I think his motor might be broken because I covered it in resin. But anyway, he looks really, really cool. He doesn't actually come like this. Like I said, I put resin all over him, green slimy resin, and he's got some nasty shit in there. And so, and I even weathered up the lid that can go on top of him. So yeah, that's really cool. So I like this one a lot. This is really, really fun. There he is. And then coming up here, we got another little critter from the Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. And then, of course, we have my 1/1 scale. My 1/1 scale, Grogu. Yeah, he's awesome. So he's from Hot Toys. So yeah, he's absolutely cool. There's been a ton of 1/1 scale Grogu offerings. I have the Sideshow one. I'll show you guys that in just a second. But yeah, I really like this one the best. This one is awesome. All right, guys, so I am up on a step stool now, and I'm going to show you guys some of the cool statues I have up here on top of my Detolf bag. Coming over here, I've got my original trilogy movie posters with some more premium format love in front of it, including my premium format Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. Again, another Sideshow piece that's getting pretty long in the tooth, but still holds up. My premium format Darth Vader, which is very, very cool. I need to get him lit up, but I need to get back there to plug him in, and it's just holy shit. And I've got Han and Chewbacca over there as well. And then way in the corner is my original Luke Skywalker premium format from Sideshow Collectibles. That's actually the first piece that Sideshow ever put out. I'm sure I say that every time I talk about it, but it's sort of got some history. But he looks really, really phenomenal there next to the original 1977 New Hope poster, 27 by 40. So that's pretty cool. So we've come all the way over into the middle of the room here. And as you guys can see, there's my Detolf divider there, and then there's my 1/6 scale Luke Skywalker and Tauntaun that I showed off earlier. But over here, I've got a really nice Gentle Giant Princess Leia from A New Hope. It's a really, really nice piece. That's like the newest Gentle Giant I bought, and she's a couple years old now, but I used to collect a lot of Gentle Giant pieces, and I still have them sprinkled throughout the collection, but that's definitely the most newest one that I bought. And here we got really, the Walker from Rogue One, which is pretty fun. And then over here, I totally forgot to mention these guys when I was doing Black Series, but I do have Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Yoda as Force Ghosts there with the really cool little dioramic piece that I bought off Etsy. It's supposed to be the little chunk of the Ewok village there, little fence or little guardrails of the Ewok village, and Yoda sits up there really, really nice. And then in this cubby here, I've got a older Gentle Giant Anakin Skywalker, all fresh and burnt. And then I've got the light cruiser Luke Skywalker from season 2 of The Mandalorian in there as well. And some miscellaneous 3.75-inch figures. Got another 1/6 scale Baby Grogu. I got 1/6 scale Baby Grogu's coming out of my butt. I got so many of them because they just came as accessories with so many of the figures that I bought. And for some reason, I just want to display them all because they're so fucking adorable. But yeah, there's another one. And then over here, man, I got my arcade 1-up Star Wars arcade video game, Vectrex-based Star Wars arcade game. Also comes with Empire Strikes Back and the Return of the Jedi game as well. Absolutely love this. This is fun. I do come down here. I actually do play this quite a bit, so this does actually get some use. It's fantastic. I don't know what to say about it. I've reviewed it before. It is what it is, but it is absolutely awesome. I wish I could show you the side paneling. I've got it just shoved right into here, and it fits real nice in there, but unfortunately we can't see the side art on the cabinet, which is unfortunate, but yeah, it's awesome. And swinging around to this side of the room again, I got some other odds and ends to show off to you guys, including those Coke bottles up there. Those are all obviously from Galaxy's Edge. I don't know which ones, but I think they're from both coasts, man. I think I got some of those at Disneyland, and I got some of those at Disney World, as I've been to both a couple times, actually. My wife's such a Disney freak that, we vacation a lot at a Disney park, and that's cool. It's cool. But yeah, so I did collect all the offerings there at Galaxy's Edge in those little thermal detonator plastic plastic containers, which is really, really fun. Obviously, I drank the soda inside, or my kids did. One of us did anyway. Coming down here, man, I got my Sideshow Collectibles Baby Grogu there. Yeah, he's awesome. I do like the Hot Toys version a little better than this one, but you know, this guy's still cute too. And I got him on sale. I picked him up about 2 years ago on sale from one of Sideshow's like fall sales, so got a good deal on him. Down below that, from the Build-A-Droid attraction at Galaxy's Edge, I've got a Build-A-Droid R2-D2, and he's got his remote control there. He works the same as a regular Build-A-Droid, but it's R2-D2. And I've got C-3PO there. He's just sort of a companion piece. He doesn't have any interaction, but you can push his button and he talks and shit. He's really cool. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and I got my watches over here too. I got all of my collectible watches. No vintage or anything like that. These are all modern. Got them at Walmart for like nothing. They're all like kids' watches, mostly from the Mandalorian, but that's fun. And then coming over here to these shelves below my Jabba the Hutt 1/6 scale shelf, I've got some really cool odds and ends down here. I got a Kotobukiya Tusken Raider. Love this piece a lot. Picked him up a couple of years ago, and yeah, I dig him, and he's behind some of my Star Wars novelizations and whatnot. And then coming over to this shelf, this is a fun shelf. This is one of my more favorite shelves, I guess, in the collection. And I got some droids love going on there. I got a droids lunchbox. Had that lunchbox as a kid. Obviously, that's not the one I had as a kid, but when I saw it on eBay for a good price, I picked it up. Got an Ewoks VHS tape. My wife got it at a thrift store. And then I've got R2-D2 and C-3PO in sort of the droids versioning there. Although those are not vintage. Those are reproductions. And then I've got Wicket and Kanisha over there from Ewoks as well. Those guys came out just a couple years back, and I picked them up. And so yeah, pretty cool. I think that's it. We got sort of a random shelf there. I got my broken ass Admiral Akbar. That's, yeah, pretty rad. Can't sleep on this guy over here on this side of the room. I got my 1/1 scale Darth Vader bust. Yeah, from Sideshow Collectibles. Of course, this is my 1/1 scale Darth Vader bust. This might be the single most expensive piece I have in my entire collection. I sort of have a cap of about $1,000 of what I'll spend on one single piece. Now, I know I've got Hot Toys, and you add them all up, and it's worth a ton of money. But just for the sake of my financial sanity, I try to cap what I will spend on one singular piece to $1,000. And this guy pushed it, but I did save up a bunch of gift cards that people had sent me, my mom and my wife and my sister, and I was able to buy him a couple years back with those. So that worked out really well. And then I have another premium format Darth Vader over here. Picked him up at a comic book store. I was moving him a couple months ago and I broke his fucking lightsaber. So, yeah, that sucks. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get that repaired, or maybe not. I don't know. So I have him displayed without the lightsaber, and it still works. He still looks fantastic, but it sucks I broke the lightsaber. Alrighty guys, well that's going to wrap things up here on the Plastic Planet. Please like, share, comment, please do subscribe. And guys, I'll see you guys really soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this full-length room tour video tonight.